This place doesn't feel real. It shouldn't exist here. A volcano in the coldest place on Earth, surrounded by ice, covered in snow, but inside there is fire. This is Mount Erebus, one of the strangest volcanoes on Earth. From a distance, it looks quiet, almost peaceful, just another frozen mountain. But that illusion disappears quickly because something is happening inside, something that never stops. At the center of this volcano, there is a lake, not water, but molten rock, a lava lake, burning constantly, day and night, without stopping. It moves slowly, bubbling, shifting, releasing heat into the air. It feels alive. But how is this possible? How can something like this exist? Especially in a place like Antarctica. The answer begins deep underground. Beneath the surface, magma is always moving, pushed upward by pressure, searching for a path. In most places, that path closes, but here, it stays open, allowing the magma to reach the surface again and again without interruption. That is what creates the lava lake. A rare and unstable balance, where the system never fully shuts down. And because of that, the volcano never truly rests. But there is something even more unusual. The environment around it. Everything here is frozen. The air is extremely cold. The wind never really stops. And yet, in the middle of all this, there is heat. Extreme heat. It creates a strange contrast. Fire and ice existing in the same place at the same time. And that contrast creates something else, something unexpected. Around the volcanic vents, ice begins to form. But not in the way you would expect. These are not simple frozen surfaces. They grow into structures, tall, thin, almost like towers, formed by gas and freezing air. They trap heat inside, creating small pockets of warmth hidden within the cold. And inside those pockets, scientists discovered something surprising. Life. Microorganisms living in conditions that should be impossible, surrounded by toxic gases, extreme temperatures, and yet they survive. It changes how we think about life, because if life can exist here, then maybe it can exist elsewhere, in places we once thought were impossible. But studying this place is not easy. Mount Erebus is remote, difficult to reach, and extremely dangerous. The terrain is unstable, the gases are harmful, and the weather can change instantly. One mistake here can be fatal. Even experienced researchers must be careful. Every step matters. Every decision matters, because this environment does not forgive mistakes. But despite all of this, the volcano continues, unchanged, relentless. The lava keeps moving. The heat never disappears. And the mountain keeps burning. It does not stop. It does not slow down. It simply continues. And that is what makes it so unusual. A volcano that never sleeps. A system that never shuts down. A fire that exists in a world of ice. Standing here would feel unreal, like two different worlds colliding. Cold and heat, silence and movement, stillness and energy, all in one place. And it reminds us of something important, that even in the most extreme environments, nature finds a way to create something extraordinary, something unexpected, something that feels impossible. Mount Erebus is one of those places, a place that shouldn't exist, but does, right here on Earth. But there is something even more unusual about this volcano. It is not just active, it is incredibly consistent. Most volcanoes change over time. They erupt, they stop, they become quiet again. But Mount Erebus behaves differently. It maintains a steady system, almost like a machine, carefully balanced, always active, but rarely exploding. And that makes it unpredictable in a different way. Because even though it looks stable, it is still dangerous. At any moment, pressure can change. Gas can build up suddenly, and the surface of the lava lake can shift without warning. Large bubbles can form deep inside, slowly rising to the surface. Invisible at first, then suddenly they burst, releasing energy all at once, sending molten rock into the air. These events can happen quickly, without much warning, and that is what makes this place so difficult to study, because timing is everything. You cannot always predict when something will happen. And in this environment, waiting too long can be risky. But there is another challenge: the location itself. Reaching Mount Erebus is not simple. It requires careful planning, special equipment, and the right weather conditions. Even then, it is not guaranteed. Flights can be delayed, routes can change, and conditions can become unsafe very quickly. Because Antarctica is not forgiving. It does not adjust for humans. Humans must adjust to it, and that is not easy. Everything must be controlled. Every movement must be calculated. Even simple tasks become difficult. Walking, setting up equipment, collecting samples, all of it takes more effort, more time, and more risk. But despite all of this, scientists continue to return again and again, because this place is too important. It offers something rare, a chance to observe a lava lake up close, to study a system that is always active, and to understand how the Earth behaves in extreme conditions. It is like watching the inside of the planet, exposed, visible, and constantly moving. But maybe the most surprising thing about Mount Erebus is not the fire, or the ice, or even the danger. It is the balance, a balance that should not exist. Heat and cold, movement and stillness, chaos and stability, all existing together in one place at the same time, and somehow it works. That is what makes it feel unreal, not just because it is extreme, but because it is possible. A system that continues against all expectations and reminds us of something simple: that Earth is not predictable. It does not always follow the patterns we expect. And sometimes it creates places like this, places that seem impossible, but are completely real.